Welcome to the Sad Boys Podcast. We're just two college students getting through our everyday lives in a form of podcast with your hosts, Sess and D Money.
Hello.
So this is going to be just us having fun, making a podcast. My name is Sess. I'm one of the hosts for the show. We're going to be doing this once a week, roughly. D?
Yeah, so roughly once, hopefully twice a week if we have the time to do it. It's good timing that we're doing this closer to the summer, because obviously both of us will be more free in the summer instead of like living our busy day-to-day lives. So with like minor introductions are due.
Well, as D said, heading toward the summer, we're going to probably be a little bit more free. Well, mainly for him, he'll be a little bit more free because he's going to college right now. I personally right now, I'm not going to college. I'm just working and trying to survive. That's the surviving part of the introduction, but for the most part, the person that's going to have to free up their time is going to be D, because, you know, he has school. D?
Yeah, so just like more about us, like Seth said, I'm a college student. I go to a private college, so, you know, like it gets pretty pricey. I don't really do anything with my free time, so like I'm just like straight up in the studio trying to figure out ways to make this podcast better. But the most important thing is that the podcast is starting. You always got to get your foot through the door before anything else. Caesar, what about you? You want to
Well, yeah, we had talked about having a podcast for a little while now, but we just really didn't have the time for it. We think it would just be fun just to talk about stuff and then see, you know, just kill time mostly, but, you know, also do something, I guess, kind of productive, get our thoughts out. My introduction would be more or less, I'm also a college, since obviously we already said college students. I go to a community college, but right now I'm on a little bit of a hiatus, for personal reasons, but mostly because I'm dumb. But, yeah, I work at an airport right now. That's what I'm doing to get through my day. I work overnight, so during the day normally I sleep. That's why a lot of the times I don't have time, because I'm knocked out. But yeah, that's my introduction basically. A dropout college student, but not really.
Yeah, and like clearly there are plans for you to go back to college soon. However, one, you're not necessarily forced to go back to it. Two, it's you do things on your own time. Everyone has their own plan.
Think about it. Do you really need college?
Well, so in the form of like,
This would be a good topic to talk about right now. Is college necessary?
so on a technicality, you don't necessarily need higher education in order to be successful. There's no like written like formula that equates like college readiness to like actual success, because I guess you could like most people, they make the argument that Bill Gates didn't go to college, Steve Jobs didn't go to college, they're multimillionaires. But if like, you know, like if that were the case, why wouldn't everyone be a multimillionaire?
But also a lot of people that are super successful, like, you know, media stars and stuff like that,
don't go to college.
They didn't go to college. Yeah, so it's like,
yeah, no, like it's definitely
of the 1%, how many of those 1% did they go to college?
No, that's true. Like, but it's also like people, they fetishize the dream of like being like a like multimedia star, where like you reach like every avenue you can just by your name, and like you know, with soul dues like that. But it's also like people kind of like ostracize those who get where they are without like any like formal training or education. So like a recent thing that happened was the Kylie Jenner self-made billionaire thing. You know, so like the stigma around that is that she's not a self-made billionaire because she had money all her life. She didn't like she didn't really like put any of her own like struggles and like, you know, the trials and tribulations to get to where she is. However, it's like, isn't that what people want? Like, isn't it that they don't want to have to go through college and all that to become rich? They want to like have what they have and then amplify it through just like, you know, just being like out there, being like in the know, you know? So like for her, I would make the argument that she is a self-made billionaire, just because like if it were so easy to like just like take your parents' money and become a billionaire, why wouldn't like like the majority of the rich people in the world be billionaires themselves. Like, why is everyone stuck in the millionaire level? You know, like she had to, like, you can have as much money as you want, but if you don't use those funds accordingly to make yourself like better, then are you actually like using them to their full extent? You know, I don't know. It's kind of confusing. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying. I guess people want things to be handed to them in a way, so they expect, like, not to go to college would be like an option for them if it were, because I think the thing with the Kylie Jenner
yeah,
is that she had the resources to become a billionaire, but she, like, maybe the argument would be if she didn't have those resources, would she still be a billionaire? Obviously, one thing is being a millionaire and one thing is being a billionaire,
And one thing is being like the general populace, the other thing is being that 1% upper crust millionaire.
Yeah, but if you think about it, a lot of people go from being the general populace to becoming, super successful, social media wise. I think it's because, I don't think it's like they don't really have to, like, it's not like they don't work hard for it too.
Yeah.
Because they have to do a whole bunch of stuff, if they're entertainers, then they have to entertain, right? They have to bring back, they have to bring an audience in.
They have to find and keep an audience.
Yeah,
it's
because one thing is just someone recording themselves, like what we're doing. Probably nobody's gonna be listening to this, right? Besides us, but
and our friends.
Maybe our friends. Are they really gonna sit through an hour
I don't know.
of us talking?
I think some of our friends might.
But that's just, like they work hard. Everybody works hard. So maybe, but yeah, with that, true. Like maybe if you have the work ethic, I think anybody that has any kind of work ethic can be successful, because the United States lends itself to that, and with the internet and social media and stuff like that, if you work hard for anything,
you'll get it. You'll get to where you want to
you'll
go.
get it. But
or you'll fix where you want to go, and you'll get to a new point.
Yeah, basically. So maybe if you're willing to work hard for it, you don't have to go to college. But
it's also a high.
100%. You also have to work hard once you're in college, because obviously, I'm not one to talk, but when I was there, I slacked off a lot, and it was like, it's still hard. It was hard. You have to do your stuff, otherwise, you're not gonna get anywhere. So people that do their stuff properly and work hard.
Well, just because I feel like I didn't explain myself with the Kylie Jenner being a self-made billionaire. Like, obviously, she had like an unfair advantage to where like she was born into a wealthy, like, accredited family.
Yeah.
So like her name was already out there from like the get-go, especially like through their TV show and just through the sisters' like own business antics. Like she already had like she was already kind of like ingrained into that whole like field of view, that whole area of like, I'm gonna be a businesswoman, because like her sisters, they've owned multiple businesses. They've owned like the Dash stores and like Miami and like LA and all that.
Kim Kardashian had that app. The Kim
Kardashian app, yeah. The Kardashian, yeah. They had multiple different like.
She made a lot of money.
Clothing lines, yeah. Like people like to think of them as like airheaded like blowhards, but it's like they actually they don't stay wealthy just because they have a name. They stay wealthy because they use their resources to keep themselves wealthy.
True.
And like for her, again, she was born into a multimillionaire family. She used that to her advantage. There's people who are multimillionaires, and you don't know, like, a lot of people don't know their names or what they do.
Like, she's a billionaire, but her family is still millionaires.
Yeah, so her total like assets accumulate to like $1 billion. Like just her business. Her business. Her family is not they're not cumulatively.
So she's part of that billionaire list. Her family members aren't.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
so
that
she's
makes sense. So she outdid her. Because like
essentially,
if it were that easy, then all of them would be billionaires.
All of them would be billionaires.
To say. But,
and like for Kylie, she found her like niche group of people. She found a product that she really cared for and would be interested in. Turn that product into a profit by marketing it to a bunch of different people. She used her name to get further than what her sisters kind of did. Not that they didn't do like.
Yeah, she's followed hella on Instagram though.
Yeah. So like she used her name to help herself. She didn't just like fall into that Kardashian clan kind of mentality where it's like, like, oh, I'm a Kardashian, this and this, like where they just.
Well, one of the Kardashians was famous because of like a little video that she did.
See, that's what people say, but that's not necessarily true. She hung out with Paris. She was Paris Hilton's assistant. So her dad was Robert. You know, their dad's Robert Kardashian. He in himself was a very like highly like accredited lawyer. He was very successful. He worked on the OJ case, like a bunch of like high profile cases. Their family was already famous before she even made that tape. You know, what's it called? She didn't use like her body. Like before that, who knew her name?
Nobody.
No.
Well, it wasn't until the video that people started knowing her name. What did you say?
Yeah. No, yeah.
So that even though she was still aloft, the video kind of helped.
No, I'm not saying like it didn't like give her.
Just in case you younger folks out there don't understand what we're talking about, she filmed a sex tape.
No, but you know what I'm saying.
Kim Kardashian did.
So it's like she wasn't like you know in the like main circle of like or the main circulation for the news and everything. But
obviously
like
not.
The
but
fact
like,
that she
was
was able,
obviously blow up outside.
She
of
was
the news.
famous enough. She had like enough like, I guess like virtue to her name or whatever, in order to meet someone like Ray J.
That's what I was thinking about. So
you know, she was the assistant to Paris Hilton, and maybe that helped her get like, you know, like more integrated into that kind of like.
And she's smart though, because she used it. She used it to her advantage. Now she's rich as fuck.
Yeah, and it's like people like for like that like whatever like 1 hour whatever tape that she had, they say that everything she has is due to that. But like she was already rich and famous before that. You know, it wasn't like, oh, she made a sex tape. And
do they actually say that? That's because she's famous. Well, I hear a lot of people be like, she's famous because of that, but I don't know whether or not, you know, that's the main reason. Because like outside of that, I don't really know why she got her own TV show. Why, like, you know, the Keeping Up with the Kardashian stuff. Like why is that?
Well, why did like Ellen DeGeneres get her own TV show? Why did Jimmy Kimmel?
They applied for it, kind of thing.
They just went for it. You just kind of got to go for it.
I guess that makes sense.
You know, you don't just like. No one's just gonna come up to you and say, "Oh, you look pretty fucking interesting." You know, here's this, like, here's a whole TV show to just your name. You know, but like, I'm willing to bet that she got the like Keeping Up with the Kardashians after the sex tape, which you know I don't know the timeline of everything, but she probably got it after, and it's because
I can search
of
it up.
all the probably go for it, like all the buzz around her name.
Well, I'm too lazy, but
it's like so now you have like. Because like Ray J, he was like in his prime at that point, I'm assuming. But I don't know. I don't consider him like an A-list celebrity.
No, he definitely was not an A-list celebrity.
Like he was more like B class, you know.
Definitely.
So it's like I didn't even know who that was. He was famous and well known. It's just like where you know, do you really like what do you remember about Ray J other than Sexy Can I? He's Brandy's brother. She's a singer. She was pretty popular. I don't know if you ever.
No, I've never heard it. So C-list celebrities is what we're gonna classify him as.
What's it called? So it's like you can't really piggyback off of someone who's not even like the upper crust, you know?
I guess, but I mean, it kind of did blow up though. It has a lot.
Yeah, no.
You know, I think it's Pornhub's #1 most watched video. It's probably like the most watched porn video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm willing to bet that or some other like fucked up shit is like number one.
No, I think that one is #1. It has to be. Out of experience.
Out of experience, okay.
Of searching stuff up. Just for research. Because we do research for this podcast.
We do research.
You get the best information out there is from here. You know, everything cited, sourced, read through, and scripted.
Yeah, our team like actually works really hard in order to just like give us the talking points for this podcast.
Well, I mean, we kind of got some like staff that's a little bit like idiotic. You know, there's always Billy. Billy's stupid as fuck.
He goes by William now, but yeah.
Oh, his name is William, but I call him Billy.
Yeah, well, yeah, which I think you should probably be nicer to him.
No, fuck you, Billy. Get back to your corner. Yeah, that's right.
All right, and then for those of you who don't know, we're like recording this in a small like makeshift studio. So William he's our sound producer. He's in the back right now behind like some like soundproof glass or whatever. He's just mixing the like everything that we send through to him. So our team consists of me, D Money, my co-host Seth, Willie or William, Billy, whatever you want to call him, whatever he goes by. He's in the sound booth right now. We have another friend, Mark.
Oh yeah, Mark. I like Mark.
He's just kind of our general manager. Well, I guess general manager is an actual position. He's our manager. You know, he's our
In
manager.
general, he is the manager.
He is the manager of what we do.
He tells us what we should talk about, what we can and can't say. Obviously, you know, D Money host, right? He has the ultimate say. Basically, I mean, you can say whatever, but
co-host.
No, you're the main host, I would say. But
okay.
Yeah. So Mark, Billy, that's all the important
Mark and
people.
William.
But none of those are important, besides me and D Money. But back to what we were talking about. You said something that I thought was like pretty like a good thing to talk about.
Yeah.
Would be social media.
Social media. When did I talk?
Oh yeah,
just like this.
yeah.
I don't actually. I don't remember when did I bring up social media.
Did you not bring up social media?
No, I don't.
Well, regardless, that's our next topic, right?
Yeah.
Social media and its impact on the world.
Yeah.
All right, so do you think like social media is helping better society or making it worse?
So I guess you can make the argument about both sides of that coin, you know? So it makes it easier in that, like, there's, like, professional social media, like LinkedIn and all those, like, job finding sites where you can use your profile on there to connect with other people in order to further yourself in the sense of, like, your job and everything. Or there's also social media where it's like you have these influencers, these YouTubers, you know, all these, like, famous people who use you know, like YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, everything to entice people to like view their lives and what they're presenting. You know, like that's kind of like a very like niche group of people who are able to do that and like be interesting enough so that people will like listen to them or like just like kind of appreciate them in a higher sense. You know, so like they're able to get famous through like such small actions, like you
But,
just yeah.
Do you think like for the common folk, it gets in the way? Because I feel like a lot of people freak out a lot of times. Like I don't know, not freak out, but you know, there's a lot of more like anxiety and stuff like that now because people feel like they need to fit a certain.
Compete.
They need to not compete, but fit a certain image.
Yeah.
Because you know, there's a whole bunch of people that just like, you know, care about that stuff. And like, you know, like stress about stuff. There's like more, I feel like there's more stress now than there was before. Like I don't know, not personally for me, because I don't really use social media that often or that much for anything.
Yeah.
But I know people that like, you know, that care about their like followers and stuff like that and care what they look like, how many comments they get, and then start stressing out about it.
Yeah, so like I'll just like rule out like the big, you know, like high influencers and all them, because it's like obviously that's their livelihood, they have to worry about that. But it's like, yeah, no, I do see like you know, like those of us who are just like in the common realm of people where it's like we have social media because it's a fun way to connect, and it's not and it's not our jobs by any means to like upkeep it, but it's like they do focus a lot on like who's following them, how popular they are, you know, this and that. And I feel like a lot of it has to do with how easy it is to become famous, you know, quote unquote become famous through social media. So it's like to like normal people, like I really doubt that it's like such an easy feat. But it's like a lot of people are like, oh, all these like YouTubers do is like they'll like film themselves and people like that shit, or like these Instagram models, they'll just take pictures of their body and like post it, like you know, their half naked body and post it.
I mean, you gotta have a good body for that though.
Yeah, well, you know, the quote unquote good body. Like,
yeah. I mean, obviously, it's subjective.
Yeah.
But there is a standard. That's brings back to like, you know, fitting a certain image.
Yeah.
Because ideally, you know, you should be comfortable with whatever you look like, and you know that should be, you know, the best.
The standard should be whatever you set it as.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But it isn't like that. You know, you have to have a certain, because like obviously anyone can take pictures of themselves half naked, like any girl or boy even, right? But just because they do doesn't mean that they'll be successful social media stars, because of the fact that, you know, they don't fit a certain image. Kind of like,
yeah, which then is like, is that the fault of social media, or is it
I think it's the fault of social media in general, because
it perpetuates it.
But yeah, because like if it weren't for social media, then I mean obviously there were still celebrities and stuff like that, and that was like, you know, you want to look like this A-list celebrity, like in a movie or a TV show, right?
Right.
Or in like magazines, back when magazines were a thing, I guess. No, there was always this and that, but now more or less it's like more out there because more people are showing, like, you know, because now like there's always gonna be a whole like attractive people, and I guess with social media those attractive people are now becoming more prevalent because, you know, they fit that. Because like, what influencer do you know that isn't attractive?
like traditionally
well,
attractive?
because I saw traditionally, and even like not 100% traditionally, because I saw there was a YouTube video that popped up in my recommendations.
Yeah.
And it had a lot of views. It had 2.4 million views, something like that.
Yeah.
And I forgot the name of it, but it was something about why being ugly, being an ugly YouTuber makes it hard. Which is like funny enough. That's the video that blew up for him, but the motherfucker didn't have any type of subscribers. But YouTube's algorithm or whatever made that one because a lot of people, because a lot of people were clicking on it.
They're curious.
Yeah, but because if you're not attractive, can you really make it on social media? Because think of who is, there's obviously there's older people that have been doing it longer, so that just build that audience from an early start that aren't not the definition, the wannabe image of attractive, but obviously there's not that much, but they're not I don't even know.
Yeah, I'm kind of lost in what you're saying. No, but you asked is there any social media star, influencer that I think is unattractive, however they're famous? And I'm gonna be real with you. There's people that fit the standards of they have the 6-pack abs, they have the slim body, they have the tan skin, whatever,
the chiseled face,
the chiseled features, everything's yeah. There's a recent social media platform called TikTok that's come up, and it's become really popular. So it's the offspin of musical.ly or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And it's essentially kind of like a stripped down of Vine, where it's you have a specific set amount of time to film a video. You post it, you edit it, do everything in the app or whatever. Yeah, you post it, and then what's it called? It just shares it to a widespread group of people. So that and people on that, they, I don't know, you can become famous for anything essentially on that, that and Vine, and I don't know, there's people who fit the general traditional set of attraction, the rules for attraction, but they're kind of ugly. There's this one guy who looks like an orange, but he's
orange.
Yeah, he's super orange skin, his hair is yellow. I don't know his name, but it's
does he have his hair up basically fuckboy look like that?
Yeah, it's slicked up. And yeah, he looks like that, and it's he's not an ugly dude, but because of the way he presents himself, he's pretty ugly. He has really chiseled.
He presents himself purposefully like that. You think he's going for that? Because I feel
like he likes the way he looks, and that's fine. But it's to me he fits the stereotype of someone who's attractive, but him in and of itself is not.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess you have a point. But but it's harder though. It's definitely hard.
Yeah, so people as much as they don't want to admit that they're shallow in any sense of the word, there's gonna be a lot of people who are even subconsciously they think if they see an attractive face that they're gonna go there versus traditionally unattractive faces. You see a picture on Instagram with someone who's attractive, you're gonna be oh, let me click on that on my Discover page, versus if you see some, I don't know, some story about someone who's a burn victim.
Yeah, mainly because what's it called, burn victim.
Yeah, not that they're ugly, but it's that, I don't know, just that's, I don't know, just you wouldn't be oh, they're a burn victim, they're really sexy. No offense to people who have...
Yeah, no offense to anyone who's ever been burned.
Yeah, but it's you wouldn't choose to look at someone.
So it does count. So basically what you're saying, it does
yeah,
it does
so
matter.
it should, it does count whether or not you think you're shallow enough to think that, but it's even subconsciously you're just gonna lean more towards people who are quote unquote attractive.
That makes sense.
It's what catches your eye right off the bat. An animal will go to something that's shiny versus something that's dull. You look at this one thing that you in your mind is attached to the thought of attraction, and that's what you're gonna go towards.
So that's basically the reason why we're doing a podcast is because you can only hear our voices.
Yeah, because we're really ugly.
Yeah, you can't see what we look like,
Yeah.
So if you did, obviously no one's gonna listen to this, but in the case that it does happen, you don't know what we look like, so you only can go by. But even if you think about it, people that have like radio shows and stuff like, they have soothing voices.
Yeah, that's the only.
Because if someone has a whack ass voice, no one's gonna want to listen to them. Because like,
yeah. All right, there was a small break there. We had some people come into the studio that we did not expect. But yeah, going back to what you were saying, it's like, I guess the only redeeming quality of both of us is that we have voices. You know?
Our voices that aren't inherently annoying. Some people probably might find my voice annoying. I feel like
my voice, because it's like at times it'll be very shaky. You know, so it's like it'll annoy people where it's like, you know, like, you fix your voice, dog.
Yeah,
like,
I guess that makes sense. But let's move on to a different topic, right? So obviously an important topic that has to be discussed.
Yeah, something that we both watched this past Thursday, on the midnight release of it, is Avengers Endgame. And while we won't spoil anything for the movie in and of itself, I feel like, what, 2 hours, 3 hours?
It was long. It was a really long movie.
No, like 2 hours before we went, you were in the room.
Oh yeah, spoilers for this movie were everywhere.
Yeah, we were at home, and like you were in the room playing, call it Black Ops 4.
Yeah, I was playing Black Ops 4. And I don't understand why everybody, because I had seen like a week or two ago, someone on Snapchat had posted that.
Don't you yourself give away spoilers.
Well, no, obviously I'm not gonna say what it was, but someone on Snapchat had posted something about complaining about the spoilers.
Yeah.
And it was like a week ago, before the movie had come out. They were for those people that are like, you know, saying spoilers on social media and stuff like that, shut up, because I don't want, like, you just ruined the movie for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can't obviously spoil the movie. It's a good movie. It's a really good movie. We definitely recommend you go watch it.
Just like the whole Marvel cinematic
universe. Because it's a good movie in and of itself, that, you know, even if you do know, I guess, a little bit of it, it won't necessarily ruin it for you, but like some parts of it. But if you know specific things about it, then, you know, the shock value of it will go away.
Yeah, so Marvel Endgame, it's obviously the last iteration for any other Avengers film. This is where, you know, like, the Russo brothers plan to end Phase 3 of the Marvel Universe.
Which is funny, though, because I heard Spider-Man 3 wasn't going to be the end of Phase 3. Not Spider-Man 3.
2?
Spider-Man 2, yeah.
Far From Home or something?
It's going to be the end of the Phase 3, because it's going to be...
No, every Avengers movie is the end of the phase.
That's what I heard. Was that... I don't know who told me that. Who was I think it was Santos. I was talking to Santos about it.
Santos is one of our friends. He goes by the name of Santos or Santos, depending on whether you're Mexican or Hispanic or not.
Well, that's what I remember. He said, but I don't know whether or not that's true. But I guess it would, yeah, because we're not getting into spoilers. I can't say what happened at the end of the movie, but
because I feel like Far From Home is what kicks off. That's the one that kicks off Phase 4. Because it's always like an Avengers movie ends it, and then Phase 4 begins. But like, how are they gonna end? What does that make sense though? Because like Avengers, there's been 4 Avengers movies. Yeah. Avengers, Age of Ultron, Infinity War, and now Endgame. But there's only been 3 phases.
No, there's been the regular Avengers. There's Age of Ultron.
Number 2.
And Infinity War and
3.
And
they're
Endgame,
part of they're the Phase 3.
Yeah, the 2-part thing. So yeah. Okay, so that. Well, it is the last phase then. But
Yeah, so it's like Spider-Man, I believe, is kicking off Phase 4. But anyways, what we were saying is that right before we had gone to see the movie, Sess over here was playing Black Ops 4. And obviously, you know, the whole culture around Black Ops and like Call of Duty and stuff is you have these like brat kids that are like 12 years old.
Which is surprising, because most of the time when I play, nobody ever talks. But this time, this one kid just like got on the mic and was like yelling a whole bunch of spoilers for the movie. But, you know, he was just saying stuff about the movie. I didn't know whether or not there were spoilers. Turned out it was true, whatever he said.
Yeah.
So it didn't really take away the shock value of it, because like I feel like most people knew what was gonna happen. Because of stuff outside of the movie. But
and it's like, it's, you know, the Marvel movies are based roughly around stories in the comic
But yeah,
books.
Also like there's contracts and stuff like that you know outside of, you know, like but they are based off the comics and stuff like that. But, you know, since you know some things,
they have to line them up with...
Yeah, you knew what was gonna happen, but, you know, I didn't want to know that it actually did. I wanted to be surprised.
Yeah, so there was like a lot of talk. Like, it shouldn't have been a spoiler, but it was, because the event itself was already known. However, the confirmation of it is what was a spoiler. So like, let's say I don't know, some like in Endgame, everyone thought that, I don't know.
I mean, don't even say anything about it. Just leave it at that. But let's just say they said, well, Spider-Man sneezed or something like that.
Yeah, so let's say, like, so in the comics, Spider-Man sneezed. Everyone was like, oh, in Endgame, Spider-Man is going to sneeze. But, you know, like, that in and of itself can't be it's not a spoiler because it's not confirmed to be in the movie. But then, let's say Endgame comes out and Spider-Man sneezes.
And for some reason, the sneeze is really big and important. Like, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, I already knew that was going to happen. And it takes away from the value of it. Yeah. Not to that extent. Obviously, sneezing has, you know, like, that's not important, but kind of like that.
Yeah, that's just, like, you know, just a very small, like, thing. But it's like, you know, like, this, a spoiler is not a spoiler until it's confirmed. It's until it's, like, actuated. So it's like,
well, it could be a spoiler in general. Well, even if it's just a random thing that they say, it could spoil the movie in general, because all of a sudden, the whole time you're expecting this, and if whether or not it turns out, like, it can, like,
it can ruin the experience itself for you. So it's like someone saying, oh yeah, like, some random pilot in an airplane in what's it called, in Endgame, like, not even like part of like the actual movie, just like somewhere in the background, some pilot like accidentally like veers to right to like accommodate for turbulence or whatever. I don't know, I'm not a pilot, but it's like they do that, and it's like, well, now I'm gonna watch out for that. I'm gonna look for this pilot kind of turning to the right to like accommodate for turbulence, you know. And now I'm gonna be focused on that. And the whole movie, I'm gonna be like, when is this gonna happen? Like, oh, it didn't happen here. Maybe it'll happen right after this suspenseful scene.
Yeah. So the whole time you're just kind of worried about it, and it can like take away from the experience of like enjoying the movie in itself.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, and it's like,
which while you're watching this movie, it's crazy. If you have a good audience, like, because most of the times when we always go like on opening nights.
Yeah.
The audience is loud.
They're
like
loud,
super loud. Yeah. But this time everyone was super quiet.
Cause like,
I was the loud one. Sometimes, but it was super quiet, hella quiet, and then there's times where like nobody makes a noise in the movie, and it's like, I like that. You get so immersed. Everybody got like lost.
So like the best and worst times to go are opening night. The best because obviously like everyone
people are gonna react like crazy. I saw when we got there was a guy dressed up as Captain America.
There was a guy dressed up as Captain America. There was a guy who sat next to us with a Spider-Man mask on.
Really?
Yeah, you didn't see
No,
him?
I didn't see that.
It was like a little gangster that was next to us. You know, but it was like...
Not that there's anything wrong with being gangsters.
No, you definitely shouldn't be a gangster. Gang affiliation, any of that stuff is like really bad. There's absolutely everything
This
wrong
is
with
a
being
judgment-free zone, Damien.
Okay.
we can't bash people about that.
No, there's like whole like social implications about that. No, you can't blame someone for being a gangster if they didn't choose to be one. Whatever. Anyways,
but
back
also
to
you don't
Endgame.
even. Okay, yeah.
Back to Endgame.
That little kid, whatever his name was, we respect him.
He was older than us. He looked like an old ass, grown ass man.
Well, he's a little kid in thought.
Okay.
Well, no one knew that. Now people know. You just expose them.
Yeah, you can't confirm it. No, but so for Endgame again, so like the best and worst nights to go for Marvel movies are always opening nights because they're the best in that the audience is literally everyone in there is feeling what you're feeling, especially because like you're not gonna go to opening night.
It's gonna be the diehard fans.
Yeah, you're not gonna go opening night of a movie that you don't care for. You know, you're gonna go when it's convenient for you. But if you really like for like Marvel fanatics, like it's you make time for the movie itself. You know, you don't wait until you have time for it. You make time for it. And like that sounds kind of like nerdy and like a douche kind of nerdy. No,
you're right because I have a supervisor now. Yeah. Where I work, that he normally picks up shifts. His days off are I think Friday, Saturday. I think now.
Yeah.
And he normally picks up shifts because he just likes working and he needs the money.
The money, obviously.
But this time he's like, I'm not coming in on Friday.
I need to see Endgame.
Yeah, because obviously he's not gonna take off the day he has to work. But the days he doesn't have to work, he's like, I let them know ahead of time. I was like, hey, I'm going to go watch this movie.
And that's that.
And that's that. Don't call me. Don't say anything about it. I'm not going to come in.
Don't interrupt me. You interrupt me.
It's like, I won't answer.
Yeah, I just like plain and simple.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be available.
So, yeah, you do make, it's like the diehard fans go in the beginning. They make time for it.
And like that's the best because it's like what you're feeling. The moment you get quiet, everyone else in the audience gets quiet.
But I feel like even if you weren't a diehard fan, you'd still enjoy the movie because it was a pretty good movie.
And like you can read the room. Reading the room is like really easy, but I guess like not everyone. Whatever. But it's like that's what makes it like such a good experience. You immerse yourself into a group of people that you know will react the way you react. But then there's always those jerks who like to like think the people who think they're funny and ruining everything for everyone else, are like, oh, you know, like the ones who are like, I'm so quirky, you know, like I'm just so random and spontaneous. I'm gonna say, like, during this like really silent part of the movie that's really suspenseful, I'm gonna make a loud noise and see if anyone laughs, but it's like everyone's just gonna get pissed off, you know. So it's like you always run the risk of having like that shithead audience, but it's like for the most part you have people who can relate to what you want to see and what you expect from the movie, you know.
Yeah, I got you. But overall, it was a pleasant experience. I enjoyed it. D Money enjoyed it.
I loved it. I don't know. I was a wreck after it. Like it was like an emotional roller coaster.
So yeah, definitely go watch it if you haven't already. No, depending on when you hear this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, good movie.
Yeah, like we can't really give. I guess we can't really give anything away other than the fact that, you know.
Unless we put the spoiler tag on to
spoiler tag, right? Yeah. No, like the one thing I will say about like some of the plot of the movie is that the Russo brothers did work on it. You know.
I mean, I hate you for that. Yeah. Obviously.
Yeah. No.
It
shit,
took me
yeah.
a second to process that, yeah. But I think how far along are we in the podcast?
For about half an hour, 35 minutes.
I guess maybe we should.
Well, you're out? Like, no, dude, like I'm good. You don't want to talk anymore?
Well, no, like, what do you want to talk about now?
What do you mean, what do I want to talk about? You said that you were talking about Casey Neistat.
Okay, so there's the thing about Casey Neistat. Well, I wanted to tie in with the social media stuff, but then we got interrupted.
Yeah, well, you kind of moved topics, but yeah.
Well, no, I didn't move topics. Like, you transitioned into that.
Okay.
Because that's when you were talking, but
yeah.
Regardless, social media, right? There's a thing that he saw. There's like an article that came out, but I don't know how truthful it is because he's the one that sourced it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Was that from the age groups of 19 to 31?
They're more depressed.
No, there's less sex.
Oh, that, yeah, just like.
Did you see that?
Yeah, no, I've heard about that the newer like generation, the millennials and everything who are in
they're not doing it as often.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like, do you think so the video, he goes over like a whole bunch of like statistics and stuff like that, and where he was sourcing it from, he says that they were talking about a whole bunch of different reasons why it could happen. You know, people are more like stressed out, like they have to worry about a job, but also like a lot. He thinks that social media has something to do with it, and I remember when I was reading through the comments, one other person saying was that now in social media, people don't know how to interact with each other and build intimacy.
Sorry for all the background noise, guys. There's like people outside of the studio doing something. I don't know. Yeah, continue. So you're saying that there's no like actual interaction. It's like behind the screen is where you feel most comfortable.
Yeah, well, and also supposedly for that to happen, you to get to that point with your like not significant other but with anybody in general, there has to be some level of intimacy.
Yeah, and like people aren't used to that, you're saying?
People don't get to that anymore with their relationships, because he's saying there used to be two bubbles of friends. You have your close friends, and then you have your distant friends, right? But now there's a third bubble that's social media friends, people that you just don't know, that you have probably never met ever.
Just people you talk to, which I don't get, because like dude, I don't know, like you and I are both relatively young. We're both 20, we're not in our 20s, we are like dead ass 20. We obviously fit into that group of people, the 19 to like 30 whatever year olds, and it's like, I don't know, I don't use social media to connect to other people. I don't like find random people and talk to them.
But there's a lot of people that do that.
Yeah, which I think is really weird. My sister does that a lot. She's a little younger than me. She's 18. And she'll do that a lot. She talks to like a bunch of different people on social media just because like a friend of a friend adds her at a party, or like like someone just sees her like Instagram or whatever and they follow her, and she'll talk to them. She'll have full conversation. She'll become friends with them, to the point where like she's had relationships with quote unquote relationships, with people over the internet, and like they never meet because they're in like separate states. But it's like how can you say like you've been in a relationship with someone that you've never met? And it's like is that the new trend, like does it like now it's like, does a relationship mean you guys have to be physically available to each other, physically there? Is like the traditional values of a relationship, are they gone now? You know, like, are we like now entering an age where it's like, because you have these different resources, these different things mean, you know, the meaning of things have changed. So it's like a relationship now, it's not like, oh, these two people, they meet up, they know each other from somewhere, they talk in person, they hang out, they go out and do stuff together. You know, is it now like,
Yeah, I guess it's harder to make well,
it's harder to set like understand what is and what isn't a relationship.
yeah, it's harder to build more or less. But that was what he was saying. Do you
Yeah.
think it's because of social media then? Is what you're saying? Or do you think there's other factors?
Well, I think in the age we live in, it's a lot easier to be outspoken. It's a lot easier, like, especially with like these empowering movements. So you have like things such as like Black Lives Matter. You know, feminism has become like, it's not like becoming more prominent. It's just like people they're accepting it more.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like people are like, they're seeing this large group of people that share the same ideas as they do, and now they're feeling more comfortable talking about it. So it's like, you've always had like a number of people who feel a specific way about something. They just never had other people that they knew could connect with them. And now that everyone's coming out and like saying, I feel this way about a topic, or I feel this way, you know.
Wouldn't you people that you're basically, well, wouldn't that be like people are expressing themselves more now?
They're expressing themselves more because they know that they're safe in you know, there's like, you know, there's power in numbers, and now they're behind the screen, so they can't really like be tracked down or like tied to. Because like if you want to talk to someone, you know, and they disagree with you or whatever, they can like make any menacing like remarks or anything to you. All you have to do is turn it off and look away. You know, so not like that gives people more power to like talk more openly. And I feel like one of those things is like the empowerment of women. You know, like clear. So now it's like women like and men. You know, there's like the whole like group of people, mainly women, are talking about how now they won't be silenced. Not that they don't want to be. They won't be silenced.
I think you're going a little bit off.
No. Like follow me here.
Okay.
And like they're kind of making like more social taboos become the norm, because now it's like, oh, women aren't supposed to be outside of the kitchen, which is what like a lot of like traditional folk think. And obviously like that's backwards ass. Then it's like,
well, that's like, yeah.
You know, and it's like, you know, which is right. You know, you're a human being. Go out and do what you want to do. Get a job. To just like, you know, don't get a job. You know, you make the call for your own life, essentially, is what I'm saying. And with that, the comfort of women, you know, like being able to like be themselves, and like now they realize that they don't need to be restricted by a man, you know, or I guess like any partner of intimacy, you know, obviously like the majority is like men, but it's like now that they don't feel they have to be with a man, and they're more liberated. It's like the topic of like, do you need a man to have sex? Do you even need sex in general?
Yeah, that's true. I guess people feel like a less need for it. Well,
less want, less need, whatever it is. But it's like, now that there's no like tie for women to men or men to women, it's like, if you don't need this other person with you to be successful and happy, then it's like, do you need sex?
Maybe people are starting to value more success over anything. Like they worry more about their success over other stuff. But like a part of the conversation is like, is that what we're like? You know, obviously sex isn't what we're going for. A lot of people aren't going for, so it's not. It's becoming less important for our generation. But I also feel like there's like, it's also really prevalent either way. But I guess it's less prevalent than we think it is. Like the act of, you know,
sex.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, I know like it's kind of a
like
long
parties and stuff like that. Like you think all you hear is like, you know, people be like doing stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, like for me, it's like kind of like a long train of thought to follow with what I was saying, but it's like, because there's no like tying down of a person to another human being for the sole purpose of sex and procreation. It's like, now sex isn't sex. It's, you can talk about like heavier discussions that people don't want to have are like masturbation.
Yeah.
So it's like, now that people don't feel like they need to have sex with someone, or like they have to be tied down to someone else, it's like, why wouldn't you be more open about masturbation? Why wouldn't you be more open to it?
So the part, the comment of the video was, so his main thing was intimacy, and like social media is like getting rid of intimacy. But another person was saying, one of the comments I think I agree with is that porn is more accessible now, so that opens up to masturbating and stuff like that.
No, yeah. So it's
like why you don't have to worry about it as much. Like say if you have the urge to, because your phone literally becomes
right
it's like literally there for that if you wanted to.
That reason.
Yeah, like so, like you don't have to worry about it being single and stuff like that.
Why you have your,
Well, no, I mean that's not why you have your phone, but your phone like
saying.
makes it easier because beforehand, like kids, like younger people would have to like, you know, hide and smuggle their little comics and stuff like that.
Little
Playboy magazines and stuff
or
like that.
Or like not even then, like around the time of Playboy magazines, it was like taboo to kind of even like think about.
No, you'd get your ass beat.
You get your ass beat. You wouldn't even like, you know, like Christian eccentric, you know, values. It's like you wouldn't ever think that's a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's like, but now it's like now it is a possibility. People are open to talking about it. People feel more comfortable doing the act itself and talking about the act. Now it's normalized, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, especially
so
with
maybe like in theory, it could happen a lot more with social media. Like, you know, people could connect more, but in practice, it, you know, there's not that level of, you know, like you just.
I don't know. It's just, I think it's like, you know, like with the aging times and like everything's changing. It's like you could blame a new product for causing a shift in like, you know, in society. So it's like you can blame social media for people not wanting to have sex, but it's like, or you can realize
there's a lot to it, yeah.
Yeah, or you can realize that it's like the people themselves.
Yeah.
They don't value it the same way others value.
There's also
sex.
like the whole like in Japan.
Yeah.
The younger kids, like there's like so much more older people than there is younger people because no one's having kids no more.
Mm-hmm.
And I was saying it's like a lot of people in Japan, they feel pressure to succeed. And that's all they care about is succeeding, right?
Not on some racist shit. That's just like.
But it's like that's a good thing.
No, it's not bad.
Like, no, that's part of their, because success is valued, 100% honor and stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it isn't racist. It's just culture.
It's cultural. Yeah, but it. I'm just saying because like you know the stereotypes that follow like.
I mean, but it's not a stereotype if it's true, because I'm not saying that they're necessarily intelligent.
Well, I feel like that's a different conversation.
Yeah, but okay, so success is valued in Japan.
Success is valued anywhere, more so in
Japan, right?
Okay, is what you're saying.
That's why suicide rates are so high there.
I don't know enough about that to make a comment about it, but it's like, okay, yeah.
So suicide rates are higher in Japan.
Yeah.
For that specific reason, because you're so, since from a very early age, is like success.
Yeah.
You need to have success. So, one part of the paper was saying that
right.
Since they value success so much, and when you're younger, all you have to do in order to be successful, you can't really be tied down to somebody else, and maybe
you can't
that's
have
what
distractions.
Yeah, and then that would be a big distraction, would be being with somebody, because not only do you have to focus on yourself, you have to focus on somebody else to keep the relationship successful. That's if you want a successful relationship, right? Mm-hmm. More so, because say like you're in a relationship where like you don't see a person for multiple days, I don't think it's gonna work out. Like you do.
So then that's another conversation to delve into, because it's like, do you need to see someone? It's what I was talking about earlier. Do you need?
If you have a long distance, long distance relationship with somebody, right?
Yeah.
You're not gonna be having that. You're not gonna be having sex.
No, that's where the topic of again masturbation.
Yeah, 100%. But even then, would you even would that even last though? Well, what's the end goal of that relationship?
Okay, so what I feel like you're saying is that there's no essentially point to, or that you can't get to an end game with that. No, but you to you, because it's not a traditional relationship where it's like both people meet up and have physical interactions with each other, even if it's just hanging out.
Physical interactions are important.
Yeah. So those are your values, correct? Yeah, but it's like, again, with this new age of technology and everything, do you need it? People ostracize virtual relationships, virtual interactions, because they're new. But at a certain point, going out and holding hands with someone was a new concept.
Well, trends and stuff like that.
Yeah, going out, being a couple in front of people, hugging and kissing, even if it's just a small peck, was taboo. So it's right now at the early stages of technological relationships, it might not seem like the ideal thing to do, but it's the relationships that we base everything off of now at one point weren't what you should be doing.
But also it's kind of bad because people are more depressed. There's more anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so nothing's foolproof. So there's obviously going to be some negative connotations, what is it? Not circumstances. So some negative what is it called, effects, side effects or whatever
side effects.
of anything. But it's like you yourself have to weigh out whether the pros outweigh the cons.
So that's basically, so for you think that there's less sex now because of that, all in general. Like, what are your main? What would you attribute it to?
I guess to just kind of recap it, there's less sex because there's less value in sex because the changing thought about everything. Like how society is like a living thing essentially. To me, it's like a living, breathing thing, where it's like it will be one way for a certain amount of time, then it'll just completely shift and change. So it's like people don't value sex and stuff because it's just not commonplace anymore. So it's like the world is changing, and so is society. It's very general stuff, but it's like obviously
it's harder to meet people and build a relationship that could lead to it, and in general, it's becoming less important.
It's becoming less important because the values of the world are changing. So now it's not like you need to procreate, God said this and God said that. Now it's like work on yourself, fix yourself, make sure your life's good before you talk about other people or you focus on other people,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like people think this is a problem that people aren't having sex and procreating. But it's like, is it a problem because it's a problem for the future of our world, or is it a problem because your old traditional values no longer, succeed?
Well, it's both in a way, because like you need
procreation to keep the world going. Yeah. But that's like people aren't just not having sex. Sex is still going on, but now it's like people are smarter too.
But you also have to have that young, you have to bring in that workforce. If you think about it.
But if you breed people
to
breed
in Japan,
people,
it's a problem. It's becoming a problem.
Yeah, but if you breed people,
there's gonna be less
people in there.
Yeah,
but also
so they're gonna have
Japan
less of a workforce.
Itself is overpopulated.
They're gonna have a less workforce.
They're overpopulated.
Are they overpopulated?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure central that part of Asia is
well, it's not even, it's its own island.
Yeah, no, it's still in Asia though.
It is in Asia.
That's what I'm saying.
China would be overpopulated.
And it's like also a big thing now is the use of contraceptions and abortion and all that. And those are heavier conversations that probably don't need to be had right now. But it's like now that people are, maybe the rates of sex aren't going down. It could also be that the rates of contraception and everything are going up. Because now, there's more value in using condoms because you don't, there's a bunch of kids in foster care. There's a bunch of kids who have parents who have abandoned them, this and that. So it's now it's like, do you want to put someone else through that? Or do you just want to not risk having the possibility of there being a kid involved, And it's also just safe sex involves at least a condom, contraception, this and that, just so you don't have HIV or get any of those STIs they're called now. That's sexually transmitted infections. Is it STIs or STDs? Or are they two different categories? Because I remember growing up, it was you don't want to get an STD, you don't want to get an STD, you don't want this and that, STD. But then around the time I graduating high school, it's oh yeah, the new term is now STIs, But it's are infections and diseases two different things?
No, it's the same thing.
But is it though? Because an infection is you get toe fungus.
Wouldn't people get more scared with
yeast infections are infections, but they're not a traditional disease where it's the flu. I don't know enough about any of these this terminology to go further into that. But it's what's the difference? Why is it now infection over disease? Because wouldn't the disease be an all-encapsulating kind of term? And an infection is a specific kind of disease?
Who knows? He probably named it differently for a reason. Maybe to make it less daunting? I don't know. Because maybe people want to talk about it less. Because disease is a very broad statement, and an infection is very, more, it could be more specific.
I don't know. I'm sure there's, an actual reason why it's called STIs instead of STDs now. Or maybe they're just two different terms. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, so right now we are 7 minutes till the end of our first pilot podcast episode.
Well, I guess we'll try to keep it to an hour, but there's nothing saying.
I think we should keep it to an hour for now.
Okay.
This is a work in progress, but
Yeah, we're learning. Well, I'm saying it's like because I feel like you kind of want to knock out, so it's like we should cut
we should tie things down a little bit, right? So
Okay.
maybe we should go for like outro. So those were
okay.
our thoughts for.
So we talked about the Kardashians and how Kylie Jenner is like to me she's a self-made billionaire because
talked about it a lot.
she used her resources to get further, whereas other people who have the same resources didn't.
We talked about how
Endgame and people are assholes for spoilers.
becoming successful with social media making
Exclusivity and all that.
social media,
The impact
basically it was a lot about social media, but yeah, that was our first episode. You can expect us to upload
Every Sunday.
well, is it gonna go up on Sunday?
I don't know. So like we'll like I'll figure out.
It'll
the
be
schedule.
roughly spaced once a week,
It'll be so at least once a week.
hopefully.
Maybe if we have the time, twice a week. So like once on the weekend, once midweek. Who knows?
We'll work on the structure of it. I feel like a little bit of it we kind of rant a lot, and it's kind of hard to follow because we go into a lot of topics, different type of topics.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like we don't have like a general consensus.
Yeah, so maybe we will script it a little bit more.
We'll
Keep like plot lines, specific talk points, brainstorm it beforehand.
Yeah, we did that a little bit with this.
We freeballed this one.
No, we knew we wanted to talk about
Endgame
and everything. You said
we freeballed
the
it.
Casey and I stuff.
Yeah,
Well, I don't want it to make it very artificial. You know, the only thing that we actually have written down is
it wasn't artificial.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
This was very natural. So we can make it artificial.
Yeah,
we can make it better, more organized.
Yeah,
because
I feel like a lot of it was stumbling on itself. But that's the fun of like learning as you go.
I guess
the first hurdle we had was we got to sit down, make the podcast. Now that we have it, we'll take it from there and make it better.
All right. So just for anyone that does end up watching this, leave your comments.
Sorry.
I mean, it's going up on YouTube, right?
Yeah, it's YouTube.
So comment what you thought about our structure, whether it was easy or hard to. There was no structure, so say like, did you like the fact that there was no structure?
Yeah. Tell us why we were wrong in our arguments, please.
But also, yeah, your opinions matter. Put them down below.
Yeah. So right now we're just rocking the two sad boys on the Sad Boys podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Have a wonderful week, and we'll see you when we see you. With probably never.
We'll never see you, but yeah, bye.
Yeah, bye.